Welcome to every fan, both old and new, to the 25th episode of the Unofficial Commentators. This week we tackle a bunch of different topics, in particular JJ's visit to WWE Raw. We talk about players resting in the NBA. What's the real worth of a jersey in football? The World Baseball Classic, and many, many more. Also, I try MamaJuana for the first time on air as I'm recording, and you can't wait to see what the results of that are. Also, we draft the anything but baseball league, and I'm not really happy with my pick. Stay tuned, all of that and more, in the next episode of the Unofficial Commentators, which begins now. Also available on SoundCloud.
And we are back for a 25th time, ladies and gentlemen. 25th. That's a quarter of 100. Unofficial commentators are back, brought to you by Mr. J. Novocho and your host over here, Packy, as well. We're glad to be back for another episode, fellas. And we have a lot of good stuff to talk about today. And we also have the baseball fantasy draft lottery coming up later on today. I know that's a big thing for our small crowd that's in the baseball community that we have our fantasy with. But all in all, guys, I have to inform, we're going to be in a new platform now in audio. We're going to be on SoundCloud. So below, you will see the links for SoundCloud. We're trying to expand a little bit more. So now we should be in a much more nicer platform. It's easier for a lot of people, better app, better coverage. I like SoundCloud. So as always, YouTube, Unofficial Commentators, and email unofficialcommentators@gmail.com.
Yep.
I know Jay hates it when I have to say it, but Twitter, UC_podcast. Instagram, Unofficial Commentators. Be sure to follow us. On SoundCloud, that would be soundcloud.com/unofficial commentators. You will be able to find all the episodes uploaded there from here on out. So Jay, man, tell me, I know you were in Raw this week. I have a whole bunch of wrestling questions. For some reason, wrestling is following me nowadays. I'm meeting a whole bunch of people that like this stuff. I'm not big into wrestling, so I have a whole bunch of questions for you today, man. Tell me what's up.
'Tis the season. And if you were not aware, the season I'm referring to is WrestleMania season is upon us. April 2nd, 2017, originating from Orlando, Florida. It'll be WrestleMania, I believe it's 33. Shit. I should have checked that before I said it. But I'm pretty sure it's WrestleMania 33. And, yeah, man, everything is heating up. WrestleMania is the Super Bowl to wrestling fans and to casual fans as well. A lot of people that don't watch wrestling, for the most part, they like to watch for WrestleMania. I have a lot of views, and we talked about the fact that I'm probably, I don't know if this is still on, maybe it is, I'll be appearing on that other podcast you do to talk a little wrestling as well. But
yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, this March 20th, I was at Monday Night Raw, or more commonly known as WWE Raw to the real diehards. And it's my first time going, not to a live wrestling show. I've been to those before, but it's the first time I go to a live wrestling show that's actually televised. And it was one hell of an experience, man. There is tons, millions upon millions of dollars that go into producing one of these shows. Like, every single detail is accounted for. I compare the people that set up the ring to like a pit crew. Like, their commercial breaks, they just zip in, they change everything, the color of the ropes, the ring mat, the apron thing around the ring, everything, man. Those guys are on point. The lighting system is amazing, indoor fireworks. Yo, that was an experience. Like, I'm telling you, I've been to live wrestling shows before, but when I was younger, I went to like one of those Madison Square Garden shows on a Saturday that never make it to TV. And, they don't have like the lighting or the Jumbotron or any of that stuff. It's just, sit there and watch some wrestling.
Have you been to any NXT shows? NXT, because I know they've done it in Brooklyn a lot.
NXT, for the most part, brings the pay-per-views around the time of SummerSlam, around August, so they'll probably be around here. When I was at the show, they actually announced that SummerSlam is coming on August 20th. To answer your question, though, Pac, I have not been to NXT. As I just mentioned, this is the first time that I've been to a live event that's also, recorded for TV viewing. But yeah, man,
I didn't know. I didn't even know NXT was televised. I didn't even know.
It's televised for people that have the WWE Network. I'm sure that there are other means of finding this as well. They probably air some stuff on YouTube and all other platforms, man. But the WWE game, they are way strong, man. They're on point. They're involved in everything. And, Vince McMahon is a promoting genius. And the people that are coming up behind them, whether it be Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, those people that are involved in production, they are on point as well. I don't know if I got a chance to talk about this the last time that we did a podcast, but I had never seen a 30 for 30. And the first time I ever watched one was watching the XFL 30 for 30. And while that wasn't necessarily about wrestling, it gives you a little bit of an insight of how much of not of a control freak per se, but how much, Vince McMahon is involved in all of his projects. And it shows, man. Like, it's something that he obviously cares about. This is why a lot of people criticized when the UFC sold, because one of the reasons it was sold, or one of the rumors of why it was being sold, was to potentially buy an NFL team. It's never going to be the same when it's like, your blood, sweat, and tears, your heart and soul, your baby, that you run it the way you want it to, like the UFC product. Compare that to one of 32 teams in the NFL. But considering the state that the UFC is in right now, I think that they came out ahead, kind of the victors there. But I digress, man. We're talking UFC when I'm really just super excited about, being a part of Raw, the ring, man, the atmosphere. Everybody knows all of the catchphrases. Shit, I know all the catchphrases. I knew catchphrases that I didn't even know. Like, there'll be some matches that play on TV, and they're not really calling my attention, so I just let them run. But when I was on the show, man, it just came back like muscle memory. I'm calling, fans of Jericho stupid idiots. I'm doing the whole Enzo Amore and Big Cass, the whole intro. Man, it was a ball, and I would definitely do it again. And given the opportunity, I will probably make it to that SummerSlam in August.
Oh. A lot of people have been coming at me with wrestling stuff, and I'm like, maybe I should start watching wrestling, because I don't know. I just don't get what's the big deal about it. And I tried watching it.
Here's the thing, and I can't be in your head, so I don't know if this is where you're headed to, but this is what most people think. Oh, wrestling is fake. Yes, it's predetermined.
No, that's not where I'm going, but...
Okay, well, go ahead and make your point, and then if you don't cover it in what you say, then I'll chime in.
Yeah, you definitely have to, talk about it, because I am going to ask you a couple of things. Everybody knows wrestling is fake, and the storyline is the fun part about it. And that's precisely my problem right now. I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to see it. I just don't get it. And mainly it's because I'm not following the storyline, okay? I stayed in the 90s wrestling. I used to be a big fan as a kid. So I'm very lost. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Maybe they'll help me get up to date. Maybe they'll help other people get up to date, and hopefully they'll get inspired to watch wrestling. First question is, I noticed a lot of people hate Shane McMahon. Why does everybody hate Shane McMahon?
Shane McMahon, really?
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people complaining about the fact that he's going to fight in WrestleMania. Like, it's a disappointment.
Okay, well, I don't think a lot of people hate Shane McMahon. When he came back last year, he came back right around the time of WrestleMania, like right around this time, basically, to build up his match for WrestleMania. And he came back to resounding cheers. Now, the thing about Shane McMahon this year, now he has a permanent role. He's on camera every week versus last year when he was a novelty. And aside from that, he is involved, and, he books the matches, obviously, right? He has something to do with what direction the fight is going in. He's involved in a fight with potentially the greatest wrestler on that SmackDown roster. A difference to last year's WrestleMania, they actually split up the entire WWE roster. They're now separated by Raw and SmackDown, the red band, the blue band. So Shane McMahon is the commissioner of the blue brand, SmackDown. And basically he's eliminating AJ Styles, which many consider the best active wrestler, from a fight which could have been epic at WrestleMania with another, high caliber wrestler to place himself in that event. And basically, he's not a wrestler. Like, you're not going to see much wrestling from him. it's going to be what many people consider a spot fest. He's there to do one move that's going to be outlandish, whether it's jumping off a Hell in a Cell or off of some crazy platform or something, that really calls the attention, but he's not going to wrestle. And the story that led up to this has been rushed. Like, there wasn't a build-up from Royal Rumble, which is basically when people, well, not people, but the company sets up the matches that happen in WrestleMania. It just kind of, rushed into it, and it was a thing where AJ Styles was always complaining about how you keep screwing me out of an opportunity to get my title back after he lost it to John Cena, which seemed utterly pointless. Like, there was no reason for him to lose that title when he did, and he's never gotten his rematch back. So that's basically the height of the animosity. And like I told you before, it's really, really simple to make a bad guy, and that's basically what they did. They had Shane McMahon screw over the best wrestler on the roster, and therefore everybody hates him.
I get it. All right, so I'm going to ask a couple of more basic questions. They're very basic.
I'll try to keep it short. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. First question is, I'm stuck in The Rock days. The Rock was the people's champ. Everybody loved him. Everybody wanted him to win everything. Back in the Rocky Maivia days, The Rock. Who would be The Rock character type right now? Who would be that persona, per se?
Well, The Rock was famous for bringing real life into wrestling. Like, he would get really personal. There are two people currently involved in a storyline that keep it real personal, and they're actually, in a conflict right now.
Randy Orton? Is it Randy Orton and
It is not. I was actually going to say Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. They're taking personal jabs at each other. They're taking like real shots. At the show that I was at, Chris Jericho interviewed the real Kevin Owens, and he made a whole segment about how at 16 years old, Kevin Owens was a fan of Chris Jericho. And, he had pictures of him wearing Chris Jericho T-shirts and with Chris Jericho posters on the wall. So he basically broke down that fourth wall. He went beyond the script, beyond the quote-unquote make-believe, and he made it personal. So if I had to say that anyone is kind of a fun anti-hero, still kind of funny, it's in between those two. I would have to say it's either Jericho or Kevin Owens.
All right, and Triple H was the maximum bad guy. He was The Rock's counterpart in most of my time watching WWE. I know it was Hogan for a while with NWO, but that goes a little bit way too much back. So I'm just going to stay with the Triple H evil guy.
It's really right around the same time. Hogan in WCW was happening at the same time as the Attitude Era. Who's the bad guy now? They kind of reverted back to that Attitude Era, and the ultimate bad guy are still the bosses. Back then it was Vince McMahon when Stone Cold was rebelling, and right now it's Stephanie McMahon. And they had like a counterbalance thing with Mick Foley involved, where Foley was the good guy or the face, and Stephanie was the heel or the bad guy. But Mick Foley has been slowly being removed from TV. I guess he couldn't get his lines together. I don't know what the hell. And Triple H is taking more of a spotlight. So now it went full circle, and it went from Vince McMahon now to Stephanie McMahon, and now it's Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, the maximum bad guys. And anyone who's associated with them is a maximum bad guy by default. So right now, the association with Triple H, you can mention people like Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, just to name a few.
Okay, I got two more questions left. That leads me to my next question. As I was growing up, we had NWO, we had Generation X. We had these squads coming up that they were like, a band of guys hanging out together. We're either the bad guys or the anti-heroes. Or, what are the groups that are set up right now, that we got to be aware of?
Those were called factions. Currently, there aren't that many.
That's the word.
Yeah, there aren't that many right now.
Come on, why not?
I know, and listen, I'm on your side with that. Like, I believe that the best time in WWE was when all the factions were formed and they were around. More recently, we had kind of the New Day. They're a three-man tag team. You can call them a faction, but they're a tag team, right? They're like involved. They dress the same. Factions to me were when you had like different components and you made
Right,
kind of a
gangs.
super team.
Yeah, they were like
Yeah,
gangs.
for lack of a better word, but we'll call them factions. They were like a super team of a lot of separate, different mismatching components, and they kind of, worked well together. They somehow fit. They don't have a lot of those now. There's a lot of three-man tag teams. There was the New Day for a while. They've on and off again done things with like foreigners like Sheamus and Cesaro over on SmackDown. There was the Wyatt family for a while. But the Wyatt family keeps like getting together, breaking up, adding new members, breaking up. I see the Wyatt family kind of like the Undertaker and Kane storyline. Like it seems eerily familiar to me. Would you agree? Somewhat, but they're not. They're not supernatural beings. They're more like if you ever saw the first season of True Detective, like kind of Bayou voodoo kind of wrestlers in that sense. Brainwashing people, follow the masses, massive suicide kind of thing, that sort of thing. They are supernatural in a sense, but they're not magical the way that The Undertaker and Kane had magic.
All right, so my last and final question is probably the simplest one of all. I'm guessing this SmackDown Raw is kind of like National League, American League, NFC, AFC, Western Conference, Eastern Conference, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of like it works. Coincidentally, today, not planned, I'm wearing red, you're wearing blue. We're kind of like Raw and SmackDown right now. This was just a coincidence. Look at that. Can you explain to me more how that's split up, and does that come together in the main events? And add to that right there, just lead off with that. What's the story right now with the WWE heavyweight title or the Universal title, whichever one is the biggest title right now? Because what's the storyline going on leading into WrestleMania?
Sure. All right. So, yes, they do. Like you said, they're two separate entities, right? I would say that it's more like the National League, American League, in that they primarily, play against themselves. In this case, they wrestle against themselves. There's not a lot of like interleague play, if I want to equate it to baseball. So there are the four major events. Those have been around forever, right? The Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Even though Survivor Series has lost a little bit of its luster, but it's still around. Those are the four main events, right? In those events, you'll see performers from both Raw and also from SmackDown. Now, every month you're going to have right around two events. One is going to be exclusive to Raw. One is going to be exclusive to SmackDown. More than anything, where there's a bigger crossover of talent is when they get to Survivor Series. Just about any time that they've had this brand split situation, there's always like a match with the Survivor Series rules where, you have a team of 5 and it's elimination down to the last man, ergo the survivor. And the Survivor Series, whenever there's a brand split, they do like a SmackDown team versus a Raw team. Unfortunately, though, that kind of Survivor Series concept that was really popular in the 80s and 90s, that's kind of died off. So these teams are composed mainly of like, mid-tier wrestlers. They won't put like the really big names in those matches. They don't want to waste them. They save those for like more individual matchups. What's the situation with the Universal title and with the World Heavyweight title? All right, well, in the last pay-per-view for SmackDown, which was Elimination Chamber, Bray Wyatt became champion for the very first time, and he is defending against Randy Orton, who won the Royal Rumble. I think we talked about that when the Royal Rumble happened. So Randy Orton won. He actually put that opportunity to. Yeah. So when you win the Royal Rumble, you get to face whatever champion you like, right? He put that up in a wrestling match. I believe he lost it, then he won it back, and then he turned on Bray Wyatt, and bing, bam, boom, and we're back to where we started. They kind of try to swerve us and think like, oh, man, no, he's part of the Wyatt family. He's not going to fight him. So what's he going to do? What was the point of making Randy Orton the champion, or rather the number one contender? But it all went full circle, came back around, and WrestleMania we're getting Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. In the Universal title picture,
right,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh. No, go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
All right,
I forgot the two different titles.
Yeah, sorry. In the Universal title picture, which is in Raw, that last pay-per-view was Fastlane. Goldberg is back, and his Oh man, his run as of late has been nothing short of pathetic. He comes in, he quote unquote wrestles for no more than 90 seconds. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3, and it's over. So in the last main event, he took advantage of a distraction, came in, spear, jackhammer to Kevin Owens, and now he's a champion. So now he's walking into WrestleMania as the champion. He had, previous to that, already had a match book against Brock Lesnar, so it all falls into place. Now it's Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. In the head-to-head, Goldberg is 2-1 versus Brock Lesnar. One was at WrestleMania 20, which was a stinker. It absolutely sucked as a match. The second one happened last year at Survivor Series. That also, it was kind of a shock, but it was also really, really embarrassing, I would say, for Brock Lesnar. It was the first time that Goldberg came back. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. And I'm totally expecting Brock Lesnar to win this one and become the champion. Now, what happens after he becomes a champion, I don't know. And that's something maybe that we'll cover when I do my guest spot at your other podcast. But I'm kind of disappointed in the way that we knew what the matches were going to be for WrestleMania so far in advance. And lo and behold, that's just how it played out. No surprises. Here we go. So now you have to watch and see if there are any surprises at actual WrestleMania.
All right, cool, man. Now you see, now I can watch a little bit more wrestling. I know what to look for. And one last question that kind of led out of what you were saying. So wrestlers from SmackDown and wrestlers from Raw, they can't fight each other? That doesn't happen?
Not really. It's not that they can't, but they're all involved and they're all feuds and they're all storylines. And when Raw has a show in Brooklyn, like Raw did this week, SmackDown is over in Detroit, so there's not like a lot of crossover of talents. They're not in the same place to be, fighting.
Okay.
And they have their own titles and everything they want to dispute. But there's always like a pride factor that comes in, like I mentioned with Survivor Series. So at some point in November, they'll be talking about making like a team to represent SmackDown, a team to represent Raw. They wear these hideous-looking blue and red shirts, and then they fight. And then whoever wins, nobody remembers.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, there wasn't no Raw or SmackDown. It was WWE, or better said, WWF and WCW. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what happens when WWE united everything, right? Because now I get it. I remember at WCW, the stars were Booker T, Sting, Hulk Hogan. WWF, it was the Hardy Brothers, the Hart Brothers, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, those guys. So that's kind of the idea. They kept it going. For people like myself that tuned out since then, probably I thought that once it all united into WWE, I thought it was just all one big group again. But apparently it isn't. But that's cool.
It was for a while. It was for a while. They played off the invasion thing, and they were like, oh, the WCW guys against the WWF guys, and then that became a whole different thing where everybody was just conglomerated all together, and then they had too many wrestlers and not enough time to showcase them all, so they did the brand split so that, you can get to shine on each side, and then, the talent started going elsewhere, getting older, retiring, whatever they were doing, getting hurt, leaving. And then they had space to, showcase them all together again. So they did. They put them all back together. And then, last year they decided to split it up again. A little, not unfortunate, but it wasn't really like and I don't think there was a rhyme or a reason necessarily for a split in this particular moment.
Say what you want. This is why I consider this podcast awesome. I have no freaking clue what's up with wrestling, but now I'm actually excited to watch a wrestling episode. Now I actually want to see it. So hopefully our listeners can benefit from that as well. We've been talking for wrestling for more than we've talked about wrestling in our last 24 episodes. And I'm glad we did it this way, man, because it gets people involved. I'm definitely involved. So I can't wait for the next event. For WWE, man, it should be fun.
I was gonna buy the what's that called, the UFC Fight Pass, and it just didn't seem like it was worth it to me, because at the very least, for the cost of the WWE Network, I get to not only preview it for a whole month, where UFC was giving me a week to preview, but it includes all of these pay-per-views. So if you sign up right now, it'll carry you over through WrestleMania. You get to watch it streamed in HD. and it'll be free for that first month. And if you decide to keep it, it's $10 a month.
Oh, that's not bad because, here we get all those pay-per-views. We even get them for free in the Dominican Republic because pay-per-view does not work internationally. We get them through local sports channels. I believe wrestling and pay-per-views come out through Fox Sports here. The only issue with that is that it's with Mexican commentators, and I prefer to listen to the guys in English. I'm not a big fan of anything in Spanish being commentated whatsoever. It is what it is.
I kind of get the feeling. No discrimination, but I get the feeling.
No discrimination. I just don't like Spanish commentators for any sport. I prefer English, me personally.
It's a matter of preference. Tomato, tomato. All right. So moving on to our next subject, man, I want to give a big shout-out to Joel Vasquez and Dagoberto, who stood in last week in my absence when you guys were talking about
the audio was hideous. I apologize, guys, if you go back to that episode. The audio was hideous, but we had two guests. They don't have the same equipment we have. There was a whole bunch of background music. One of them sounded pretty low, so I kind of had to amplify the audio for one of them. So it was all a process. But anyways, I mean, they did give us some great content.
Yeah, in terms of content, I like the show. There were things to make better in terms of the sound quality, but I liked it. I heard it. For those of you who were not aware, it was a podcast-only version, so only the audio came out. It's still up on Podomatic.com, so if you are subscribed, you should have got the heads up that it was posted, and if you're not subscribed and you're interested in hearing a little bit of jibber-jabber about the World Baseball Classic, feel free to tune in, listen in, and hit us in the comment section and let us know what's up.
Yes.
As we're recording this, USA is up 2-0 in the finals for the World Baseball Classic, although the World Baseball Classic to me ended on March 18th when the Dominican Republic lost. I honestly, man, as soon as I started caring, I stopped. I was hanging out with Victor yesterday, semifinalist for the League of Haters, and semifinal or second place, would that be the semifinalist? I don't even know. A finalist, but second place for the League of Haters.
Finalist.
Yeah. And he was asking, what happened to the Dominican Republic in the second round? And I think the biggest thing was they just left too many damn runners on base. Like, there's no other way to explain it. I heard at one point in one game they were like 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position. Like, that's ridiculous. That's way too many runs left on base. The only game they won in the second round was against Venezuela, and that was a nail-biter. I forget. I think it might have gone to extra innings. I don't remember because I was kind of dozing.
No, it was 3-0. It was 3-0.
Okay, you're right. It did not go to extra innings, but those innings, those last runs, they came in kind of late. I mean, there was like a home run in the fifth, and then it was quiet, nothing really happening. And then, they tacked on a few runs. I think it was in the eighth inning, and that was pretty much it. And had Miguel Cabrera not got hurt that game, I mean, that might have been a different story. Like, Venezuela played them tight, and if they would have had that extra bat to worry about, I don't know what the outcome would have been. But I guess the bats were just cold, man.
Yeah, I mean, Venezuela was pretty much the worst pitching in the entire World Baseball Classic tournament, and Dominican Republic couldn't even hit on them. You have a star-studded roster up and down. I mean, you have guys that can hit the ball anywhere. And I think that was actually a problem. The team lacked so much balance. It lacked so much speed. It's ridiculous. You see that runners left in scoring position. I believe in the second round they were like 2 for 21 or 2 for 22 overall. More than once I saw players on first base and somebody in the Dominican Republic hit the ball all the way to the wall or a massive double, and the runner was not able to score from first because of lack of speed. The lineup was not balanced. We had a bunch of third, fourth, and fifth batters up and down the entire roster. So I think that played against the Dominican Republic roster. It proves that baseball, although sabermetrics it's not all about sabermetrics, but balance and having a structured roster of the real type of batters that pertain to each position, it's needed. You have Manny Machado batting second. Manny Machado is a third or fourth. Cano, third or fourth. Nelson Cruz, fourth or fifth. Jose Bautista, fourth or fifth. Carlos Santana, third or fourth. Adrian Beltre, 4th or 5th. So you have all these 4th and 5th. So they're all swinging for the fences at all moments instead of just focusing and putting the ball in play in certain situations where they had runners in scoring position, like they did versus USA and like they did versus Puerto Rico. Runners on 2nd and 3rd more than once without any outs, and you don't bring in a single run because you're all swinging for the fences. So you're either striking out or popping out in the infield. That is unacceptable. Hopefully, Moises Alou, who structures the Dominican Republic team, and Tony Pena learn from this going into the 2021 Classic and try to put together a more balanced team, how it was in 2013. And, we didn't have the amount of stars that we have this year, but it was a much more balanced team. It had way more speed, and it clearly had more, a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, chemistry on the field.
That's very interesting, man. I would have thought that having a bunch of 3rd, 4th, and 5th hitters, I mean, those are usually the best hitters on the team. Like, why would that be a bad thing? But I guess I understand if you're trying to drive runs in, but there aren't any runs presently on base to drive in, then there's not going to be a whole lot of runs scored.
Yeah, and it's a situation, like I said, you're 2nd on 3rd, your priority is to put the ball in play, even if it's a deep fly ball. You got to try to swing up. You not swing for the fences. You can't be power swinging on everything. Just try to make contact, solid contact. Let the defense make a play, and that's not what we saw. The best example for me to put it this way is imagine Team USA for basketball, which is probably the most talented basketball roster in the world, goes with with 5 small forwards. Oh, you got LeBron James, you got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard, you got Kevin Durant. They can all play a lot of positions. It's not going to work. You need a point guard, you need a center, you need a shooting guard, you need a power forward. You can't have 5 small forwards just because they're all versatile. It's not going to work.
Yeah, that's what happened to that team that lost. They were kind of small, the Iverson, Marbury teams. I dig what you're saying. I hadn't considered it, though, but I understand what you mean when you bring it up. Something that was brought up was the fact that the games played in, San Diego, that they were pretty much empty. I have a theory, and I'm not always right, but I'm going to throw it out there because I thought of it when I heard the guys talking about it. They didn't sell out, but here's my theory. When you buy a ticket to go to Miami to watch those games, you know that you're going to see, your team, at least if you're like a fan of the Dominican Republic, or wasn't USA playing in that same pool? So the American team is being represented there. They're playing there. The Caribbean teams, for the most part, they're also playing there. So you're guaranteed to pay to watch your team. Now, the same way that I checked out the moment that Dominican Republic lost, could you imagine, like, buying tickets to the second round ahead of time, making flight arrangements and hotel rooms and all that other stuff to go to San Diego, which for the most part, I don't consider a city with, like, a whole ton of stuff to do. Like, I don't see San Diego with as much of a nightlife as, let's say, Miami has, where there's always something to do.
They have amusement parks. I think San Diego has an amusement park.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I mean, Miami doesn't have amusement parks. They're closed, but they're not in Miami. But there's nightlife. Right. There's things for you to do. You're always entertained. You go there, and there's things for you to do that aren't all necessarily backed up by the World Baseball Classic. So I guess the bottom line is, imagine if for whatever reason the Dominican Republic hadn't made it, and you have all these Dominicans that are putting in a whole lot of money to go from Dominican Republic 7, 8, 9 hours away to San Diego, and then your team doesn't make it there. So this isn't like the type of trip that I can plan like I did with the first round, where I knew for sure I was going to see my team. Win or lose, my team was going to be there. Now, had they lost and not made it to the second round, now I feel like my second round tickets are worthless. And the tournament is happening just like so fast, like one after another. Like yesterday was the last semifinal game, and today we're playing the final. There's no like day of rest in between. There's none of that stuff. It's right there. So if you're not in the city or around the city that's playing it,
right,
how do you make arrangements to travel to go make these games? Like I haven't had a chance to see the actual game. I don't know if it's sold out or anything. When they did get sold out, we got a heads up. I know that viewership on TV was major for Japan and USA yesterday. but it's hard to sell out a stadium when you don't know what teams are going to play.
No, definitely. And, you know, the main factor, a lot of people are like, oh, but a lot of Dominicans were in Miami, you know, because the Dominican Republic team was the one that was selling out. The fact of the matter is, Miami is just a couple of hours away from most of the Caribbeans, meaning Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and USA. And on top of that, it's easier for you to find a family member in Miami if you're Dominican or from Venezuela than it is for you to find one in San Diego. So,
well, that's something that bothered me. It bothered me a little bit from that perspective. I understand that you guys made it personal, and I applaud that to an extent, but you got to think, you know, that they're not catering these games to the Dominican Republic, even though they were the defending champions. If anything, you kind of have to cater it to the American public, who you really want to get involved in this, so that we can keep having World Baseball Classics.
Definitely.
And that's just kind of how it played out. Like that's my theory on why the stadiums didn't sell out.
A lot of people wanted it to stay in Miami. I was one of them, but after further consideration, it's very hard for you to stay in Miami because you have more than one game playing around. You don't have all the stadiums in one city. I mean, even the World Cup, even though the World Cup of soccer works in one country, it moves around different cities because there's a lot of games playing on simultaneously. So they had to go to San Diego regardless. What Major League Baseball, who is the organizing entity right now of the World Baseball Classic.
Well, let me interject there, Packy. I'm sorry. I don't know if they have to go necessarily to San Diego, but it works on a number of different reasons, right? The weather is usually good. It doesn't often rain in San Diego. And it's kind of a middle ground between the United States. You're still in the United States, but, you know, playing on the West Coast, you're going to be closer to those Asian countries.
See, that's where I think everything has to change. Either you send everybody to Japan, to Asia, or you send everybody to the United States, but have all the groups like the World Cup being played in one country. You know, it gives it a little bit more realism. That's how all world tournaments work. I do not like the fact that it's being celebrated in, I think it was 3 different countries, because there was games in Korea as well. I didn't like that part, but at the end of the day, I'm cool with it going to San Diego, LA. The weather is great over there. The only places you can actually use are any southern state, you know, like Texas, Arizona. Arizona already has the fall league, you know, Florida, and so on. So it's not like they have many options to work with anyways during this period. But at the end of the day, man, what I'm trying to get at is it's all about promoting. MLB did not do a good job promoting. And I hope, no disrespect to any Puerto Rican out there, but I hope USA wins this World Baseball Classic because it'll help the World Baseball Classic. As a matter of fact, Americans are already getting more involved as they pass to the finals. They broke records for ratings, for TV ratings for their semifinal game. As a matter of fact, it was one of the highest TV-rated games outside of playoff games for MLB in general. So Americans have to see USA win so they can get involved into the tournament, who, as of right now, have been the team or the fan base that has less been watching this tournament. They haven't been putting no attention whatsoever to it. So if USA wins, I'm hoping they jump on the train and we can continue having these World Baseball Classics in the future, because it was already talked about this might have been the last one if the results were not the ones that we're looking for.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I don't think that necessarily the fact that it was the USA that was involved in the semifinal was the reason why so many people tuned in. I mean, I know that the Japanese market was probably, you know, eyeballs glued to the TV, and they represent a huge spike in ratings. They're a very big demographic, and also it was the only game in town. So
yeah.
Like if you still had any hopes, if you were still interested in the World Baseball Classic at all, that's the game you were watching.
Yeah, and also, you know, if USA wins, I'm hoping it'll bring more talent level also from major leagues, because there's a lot of Americans that didn't play the Baseball Classic that should have played, that are extremely talented. That's definitely going to bring in a bigger fan base. We'll have to wait to see how the ratings do for the final game between them and Puerto Rico. That's going to be very telling to what's going to happen.
Top of the third, Ian Kinsler home run puts the USA up 2-0. let's see how that plays out.
Yeah,
All right.
and by the way,
yeah.
To close out the topic, the reason why Puerto Rico and the United States are there is because, to me, they're the most complete rosters based on what we were talking about earlier. Dominican Republic being extremely one-dimensional, and USA and Puerto Rico both having a lot of different facets of their game that apply to baseball itself. So they've done a great job playing a complete baseball game all around throughout the tournament. So there you go.
For those people that listen to the World Baseball Classic special from the Unofficial Commentators, I heard you guys praising Jadier Molina as the best player in Puerto Rico.
Oh, my God.
Who's the standout player for the USA?
Well, right now it has to be between Adam Jones, who has been great defensively, not to mention that home run ball that he stole from Dominican Republic, who I think is the best defensive player of the entire tournament, even trumping some of Manny Machado's awesome plays that he did in the first and second round. Adam Jones and Brandon Crawford. Brandon Crawford's bat has been extremely opportunistic. He's brought it in when they mostly need it. So to me, those two have been my favorite players for the United States so far.
I'm glad to see you're such a big fan of Adam Jones' D.
Yeah, man, his D is awesome, bro. Love the D. Love the D. It's super important.
I'm starting to feel this, man. Have you ever drank MamaJuana?
No, but I got a coffee mug right here for the Mets. You might not have seen me drunk because I chugged it right before we started recording, but I kept it close because, since we are talking baseball, might as well have my Mets mug close around. So, yeah.
It's getting hot in here, bro. This is the first time I ever drink MamaJuana. I'm doing it live on the Unofficial Commentators while I'm recording. My armpits are feeling kind of moist.
Oh, man, we got to drink some of that when I go over there, man, for real.
Holy crap. Whew, man. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the front runners for the MVP voting in the NBA. I think it's pretty safe to say right now that Steph Curry's out of the running. He's not going to be a three-time MVP, right?
I agree.
All right.
It's not going to happen.
So that being said, even when Kevin Durant was there...
I'll go further. Hold on. I'll go further. Stephen Curry is not going to win another MVP ever again in his career.
Yeah, I think that's pretty safe to say. It looks like he's basically going to go the way of Steve Nash. And while he is going to be great, and he already has a bunch of records that seem like in the long run they're going to be unbreakable, for his three-point shooting, I think that's basically the peak of his career. He is 28. We were having this conversation not long ago about a player's peak. I think it kind of starts going down there, downhill from there. He's 28, man. When you see Steph Curry, you don't really think that he's that old. I would look at him and say, oh, this guy's a baby. He's 22 or something like that. On the other hand, you have Kyrie Irving, and he looks like an old man.
And that's exactly why Steph Curry is peaking already, and that's why he's on outside of his prime, because his body looks so weak and fragile compared to regular NBA players that it's the grind is going to affect him regardless. And especially Steph Curry, that's been playing 2 NBA finals back to back. That's very stressing on any professional basketball player's body, which is one of LeBron's greatness. Nobody understands how LeBron has played 6 straight finals already, and he's still going at it. Yeah, he's played 7 overall, 6 straight. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. But it is what it is. Steph Curry definitely does not have LeBron's body, man. His body's not going to be able to take the wear and tear of every day.
And FIBA games
basketball.
And Olympics thrown in there in between. And, movie roles and commercials. He's spreading himself really thin. But still there, still kicking.
Which is why I'm perfectly fine with wrestling nowadays. There's been a lot of talk about
get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Yeah.
No way.
And you know what pisses me off the most? When Popovich was the only one that did it, he was a genius. He figured it out. He rests his veterans. Well, you never liked it, but everybody praised it, and you can't tell me that they didn't. All throughout the media. Popovich is a genius. He knows how to manage his veterans. He knows how to manage his players. I heard it everywhere in every major network. It's
I think there was some divide there. Not everyone was on board with this.
Come on.
He sat him down. Listen, he sat him down on a Thursday against the Miami Heat. Not only did he sit him down, he did something more blatant. He sent them home. Like, he paid plane ticket. Well, he didn't pay them personally, but he said, listen, you guys get on a plane and go. Don't even show up to the building. And I think it worked out because they ended up winning that game, or if they didn't win, it was really close. And that's why it was like, he made himself look like someone whose coaching and system mattered more than the actual players on the court. But I don't go to watch basketball games. I don't sit down in front of the TV to watch basketball games to watch system and coaching. I go there to watch the stars.
Everybody's like, oh, but Jordan never rested. Jordan went to 3 straight finals and then went 2 years to play baseball. That's a pretty big rest. And then he came back for 3 straight finals and retired again.
Dude, are you going to tell me this shit again? Like, you're going to go the route of baseball is an activity, not a game? I mean,
you can't compare the grind of minor league baseball to NBA because he went to play minor league baseball.
You can. Wait, hold on.
Come on.
Dog, I remember living in Santo Domingo and watching those kids wake up at 4 in the morning to go run around the Olympico just because they're trying to make something. This is the life of a minor leaguer. They're not chilling.
Yeah,
they're not taking it easy. They're trying to make the big show.
But the sport in itself is not as grinding as an NBA season, especially when you're Michael Jordan, that people are bumping and hitting you all around the fucking court, how it was back in his day. In baseball, man, that was a vacation for Michael Jordan. And I just set Michael Jordan as an example, but what I wanted to get at is players.
You still got to train. You still got to do, take batting practices. There's a whole bunch of shit that's involved in baseball that isn't just showing up and taking 4 hacks.
I'm not saying it's easy. Of course, it's a professional sport. It's not easy. But you cannot compare the physical grind, the wear and tear on your body to an NBA athlete. It's just like football; it wears more on your body, and that's.
I know that you.
Proof?
I know that you.
There's a reason why you play 162 games. It's because they're a lot easier to play than a basketball game. It's that simple. Like physically, I mean. Yes.
No, I
can't
disagree with that.
You can't play basketball 5 times a week. You can't play an NBA game, 5 NBA games a week.
Well, the reason that you can't do that is because just about every basketball game that you play requires a lot of traveling. And that's kind of a big issue that's going under the radar that, a lot of people think that the whole Chris Bosh situation and the blood clots and stuff had to do with, his type of body, his height, and just his medical condition, constantly flying, taking all these red-eye trips, sleeping on airplanes. This has to be unhealthy. But baseball, you go to a town, you kind of camp out there for half of a week. Yeah, you play 3 games in a row, but it's half of a week, and you got to go out and practice, and you still got media responsibilities, and you got to play.
People got to forget about the past. Oh, the players played 82 games. The sport evolves. They found a way to keep their players fresher, keep their players happy. Teams, and the only teams that are actually doing this are teams that are competing for a championship. So those
are the good teams. Those are the teams that when they come here, listen, I'm never going to go back to the Madison Square Garden. I think the tickets are too expensive and the Knicks are always going to suck. So if I'm going to go see a shitty team, I might as well go to Barclays. At least the tickets are cheaper, and they're still in Brooklyn, which is pretty much close to my house. I don't have to take, really long trips and bus, train rides, whatever the hell the situation is.
Right.
Now, with that being said, you still have to pay a premium on your ticket prices when LeBron James comes to town. When Russell Westbrook came in, it was more expensive than when the Miami Heat came in. The Miami Heat tickets were like, you can get them for $7. I went to see the Nets play the Milwaukee Bucks, and there was such a following for the Greek Freak that you couldn't get a ticket for less than $34. And we're talking nosebleeds. I didn't even necessarily sit in the nosebleeds, but I'm telling you, those were the cheapest. From 7 against that D-League Miami team to 34, just because Giannis Antetokounmpo's playing, that's a pretty big leap. That's almost 5 times as much. So you pay 5 times as much of a ticket, like make that exponentially for however much closer you want to be to the game, and then tell me, Giannis decided to take a rest today because they're going to beat the Nets no matter what, so why the hell should he play? Duh, I'm going to be really fucking upset.
And it's not.
I'm not waiting for the day of the game to buy the tickets. I'm getting them ahead of time. I'm making plans. I let all of you guys know that I was going to see Giannis Antetokounmpo. If he didn't show up to that game, I was going to be really fucking upset. I might as well just, got up and throw my tickets away and say, fuck this.
Everybody's blaming the players and everybody's blaming the coaches for resting, when the true issue here is the fact that the NBA has become a two-team league. That's the real issue. It's not about Cleveland being able to win without LeBron or Kyrie. It's not about Golden State being able to win without Curry and Klay. It's not about San Antonio winning without Kawhi. It's about the fact that whether they win or lose, it's not going to change the fact that they're going to be competing for a championship later in April.
So why not play?
That's the real issue here.
Why not play? I mean, outside of injury, I think Steph Curry played all of his games. I think outside of injury, Stephen Curry played all of his games. What he didn't do a lot of was not playing a lot of fourth quarters because they were winning by so much. So give the fans what they want, come out and play. And if you're ahead by so much, or if the game really doesn't matter, then sit the stars. But give me at least a half. Let me see you introduce LeBron James when the starting lineup comes out.
You're seeing it from a fan perspective, and I
well, what the hell am I? I'm a fan.
No, I get it. Like, I respect it, and you're right in that point. But what I'm saying is you can't take away the right from a player to get rest when they understand they're competing for something bigger than just beating the Sacramento Kings.
Wait, hold on.
No, that's how sports work.
Wait. Since when is that a right? The right to get rest? Wouldn't you agree that football is a lot more physical, and those guys are playing?
Yes. Well, the difference with football is that every single game counts.
Fibulas.
Yeah, but that's 16 games. Every game counts. Totally different. You want that to change? Then reduce the amount of games in the NBA season. 82 games.
No, then you hurt the money.
There's still a month. There's still over a month left of NBA, and we already know everybody that's going to be in the playing in the last 4 teams that are probably going to be playing for the championship. It's not the same with NFL, man. Every single game counts. Every week counts. I know it's hard to digest it, but it's the fact that these guys are getting wear and tear for beating teams that it doesn't really matter. They're still going to be like Cleveland is only like 2 games ahead in the first, and they don't even care because they already know where they're going to be in the playoffs. So hopefully what the NBA needs to do is either find a way to David Stern the shit out of free agency and trades and try to control these super teams building up so it can get more competitive all around like it was back in the 90s. I mean, back in the 90s, it was either Jordan, and a whole bunch of other teams. But out of all the other teams, you never knew who it was. So now it's just you have 2 heads in each conference, and it makes and that's why viewership has gone down as well. Why would I even bother watching a game between Golden State and Phoenix when I know Golden State is going to wipe the floor with Phoenix? I don't care. I don't care to watch it.
Well, last year, the Golden State Warriors went all in on getting 73 wins. This is no secret. And they didn't win a championship, so this year they're taking a more relaxed approach. They're not going to stress it so hard in the regular season. They want to be rested for the playoffs. Now, if you have that outcome and then you decide to change your outlook on games, then that's what needs to happen. Like, these teams that are coasting and resting and doing all this bullcrap, they need to – a Cleveland team needs to end up 3rd in the East, and they're going to be super confident that they're going to make it to the finals and lose. And when they lose, they're going to be like, you know what, maybe I should have went a little bit harder and got that first seed because it was more important for me to play against the 8th team. Something drastic needs to change. I don't know if anyone in power can change this, but they got to change this, man. This affects everything. This affects the sport from the fan base that isn't going to watch these games. This affects... something as significant / insignificant as fantasy. Fantasy is free. We don't pay to play fantasy, but there has to be an economic, benefit to having fantasy leagues. Like, we sign in for free, but now that we're signing in for free, we're watching games to see what our players do. Usually in markets that we wouldn't normally follow. Like, I pick up, let's say, a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now I'm following what's going on with Milwaukee when that wasn't a team that I would normally watch. And now ratings start picking up TV-wise because people are watching, and advertisers can pay more money to advertise on Milwaukee games because now they have a star and people are watching. Same situation for like a team like Indiana. They basically have one star that a lot of people want to watch, etc., and so on and so forth. So if you affect my fantasy basketball, if you affect my betting, if you affect the daily fantasy leagues where you put in money and make money back like really quickly by resting players because they feel like it, because everything is in the bag, this is how you lose viewership, this is how you lose interest, and ultimately this is how you lose money. Like, NBA players are getting these massive contracts based on the TV money. Well, what the hell does TV have to pay for if, we're not going to put stars on TV when people want to watch them? Or when it's the only game in town like it was last Saturday when LeBron and Kyrie decided to rest?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Something has to happen to make this shift back, because something did happen to make it shift to how it is now, and it was what you just mentioned. The Warriors going all in regular season and losing in the championship proved to teams that, man, maybe I just should rest my stars instead of stressing for the regular season, so I can actually be more prepared for the championship. So something drastic happened that shifted the NBA to what we're seeing now, and I agree, something drastic has to happen so it can shift back.
All right, so I guess I teased that we were going to talk about some MVP candidates. I don't know if we have time to do that or...
Oh man, I'm sorry. It just popped up. I just mentioned it like it just came out. I kind of ruined that.
I mean, that's okay. We still have a few weeks of NBA left, so we can touch on that maybe next week. I'm sorry for the people that I promised outside of the podcast that I was going to talk about.
Ha! You're going to have to watch next week.
I sold you out, and as big as a show that we want to bring to you today, because it's the 25th episode, the 26th episode means we've been doing this for half a year. So I'll see you guys at the half-year anniversary. Dude, is there anything NFL related you want to talk about?
I mean, right now, the only thing that's kind of has me bothered with the NFL is the fact that they actually prepared a video for players and how they can celebrate. I don't understand how retarded this is. I'm tired of Roger Goodell. But at least he's trying to do something well. Given the ratings, they're trying to reduce the games. They're going to take away that double commercial, touchdown, commercial, kickoff, commercial. They're going to eliminate that. That has me very excited because it's kind of messed up. The team scores a touchdown, you run to the bathroom, come back, and then you're back into commercial. So I'm glad for that. But that's just retarded, man, what they did about a video about celebrate. Just let the damn guys celebrate, man.
Can somebody go to the comment section or write me an email and tell me what the hell they put in MamaJuana? I'm drinking this like it's candy, and it's really making me feel weird.
Oh, that's good, man. We're getting it on the air, man. It's perfect.
Oh man! Shout out to Brolo El Cuñado. My brother-in-law sent me this. It was his birthday this week. So Luis, happy birthday! Damn, I feel like happy birthday every week.
I want to taste that now. I want to taste that now. But besides that, man, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to get into NFL right now. We're a month away from the draft. We have so much to talk about in the future. So that's pretty much it, man. I think I just want to take this couple of seconds to say Roger Goodell is the worst thing that has happened to football since it began. That's it.
I was waiting for a bigger payoff. Well, what was the deal with the Tom Brady jersey?
Oh man, I don't know if you saw did you see the footage on that? That was crazy. So this Mexican reporter, supposedly he's like a director for a huge Mexican newspaper. Not only had he stolen the Tom Brady jersey, but they also found he had Von Miller's helmet from the Super Bowl that was also stolen. So he's been doing this for a while.
How come we never found? I never heard about this Von Miller thing, and now because Brady loses his jersey, now it's a big deal.
Because it's Tom Brady.
Oh, I guess.
And what made it even a bigger deal is that Tom Brady said it in the press conference, like somebody stole my jersey, like he said it. So it brought attention to it.
Do you have any idea what the hell they do with these jerseys otherwise? Like, had this gentleman not taken it, what do they do with them? Does it go to Football Hall of Fame?
No, I believe players have the right to keep it. And according to Tom Brady, the story was that he wanted to give it to his mother. His mother was very sick during the Super Bowl. She was not able to attend or watch. I'm not sure if she watched or not, but she was very sick, and that had him worried. So he wanted to give that to his mother.
The seventh one he's played in is the fifth one he wins. Like it's if you've seen one, you've seen them all, Miss Brady.
And the truth is, the jersey, regardless of what they're going to do with it, it's worth $500,000. That's what they're saying. So the guy stole $500,000. If you walk away with $500,000 that are not yours, people are going to come after you. So
that's not stealing, bro. That's larceny. That's some shit. It's like robbing a bank.
Exactly. Let's not forget, O.J. Simpson is in jail for stealing memorabilia.
Yes. That's an excellent point. When I heard that, I was like, shit, isn't this the same shit O.J.'s in jail for?
Yeah. So it is a real thing. It is a real felony. And the fact that it went across the border makes it even worse. So the FBI had to get involved.
What?
It was ridiculous. The FBI had to get involved because now you're talking with another government. NFL can't just go talk with another government. You know what I mean? It has to be done through the FBI. And it's ridiculous how that happened. The guy sneaked into the locker room as one of the guy sneaked into the locker room as one of the, like, if he was one of the Patriots staff members. And supposedly, according to reports, the jersey was already in Tom Brady's bag. So he had to open the bag and take it out of Tom Brady's bag in the locker room. So
he knew what he was doing.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, of course he knew what he was doing. He left. As a matter of fact, when they show the footage, I recommend you look it up.
He just walked out with it under his arm, like it was his.
Yeah, he walked out in a black bag. Like before, when all the media members are walking in to ask questions, he's the only one walking out. So that looks so suspicious. How can you be the director of one of the biggest newspapers in Mexico, and when everybody's about to get the rights to ask all the cool questions to the players, you're leaving, with a black bag under your hand that you did not have when you go into the locker room. So very suspicious, man.
Yeah, that was just fun. Why did you? I saw the video, and they do that thing where they blur out his face. What's the deal there?
No, they showed his face now. They showed his face now. Yeah, his face. His face is clear. As a matter of fact, I would recommend you guys go to YouTube. Colin Cowherd.
So tell me something. What happens now? He goes to trial or some shit, or straight to jail?
I have no idea. See, that's what I don't know. They recovered the jersey. They already have it. What I don't know is what are they going to do with the guy? I'm pretty sure that if he flies into the United States, there will be charges pressed against him. I'm thinking that while he's in Mexico, I'm not a legal expert, but I'm thinking while he's in Mexico, there's not much U.S. can do.
Can we get a legal expert? ¿Qué está haciendo Sahul? Call Sahul up.
we can get him for the next episode. That'd be fun to talk about for sure.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah, Sahul would be a perfect legal expert for this. Man, we're gonna bring him in next week for sure. I'll let him know.
Listen, man, I'm gonna say something, and if you guys don't see me next week, you know what happened to me. But I've been seeing a lot of NBC shows, and for a long time I've been saying yo, they make the FBI look like such a joke. Like anybody can just walk up to these buildings and hack all their computer systems, and this guy's a fugitive 1 minute, and now he's accompanying us on field missions. They make it seem like such a, and now I don't know what the FBI is supposed to be doing. Like I've never gone in depth into a job description of an FBI agent. But they got you investigating a stolen jersey in Mexico? Like, what the fuck is that?
Again, don't see it as a jersey. See it as $500,000.
Yes, I understand.
That's how I'm trying to see it.
$500,000 that, I don't think he took it for the money. They found the helmet too, right? The Von Miller helmet?
The Von Miller helmet.
That's from last year. They just kept it. He just kept it. Is he putting it on a mannequin and falling asleep next to it? Is it like a Norman Bates situation?
Apparently he's collecting them. I don't know. It looks like he's collecting these things.
Does he bring his friends over and go you see that helmet over there?
That's Von Miller's helmet.
Von Miller.
That's Tom Brady's jersey, man.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
God knows what he did with that jersey.
I was making pancakes wearing that jersey. Mm-hmm. That was me right there.
I hope it was just pancakes.
You see that stain right there? Yeah, pancake batter.
Yeah, man, for real. So So yet again, we got to stop seeing it as a jersey and see it as it is $500,000. So it doesn't matter what they're going to do with the jersey.
That's grand larceny.
That's a lot of money.
That's
a lot
insane.
of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, if they found them,
Like I was saying, I would recommend people go to YouTube and look up Colin Cowherd's channel. He has a very detailed video explanation of how everything was broken down. So it's about a 9-10 minute video. You can see it there. That's worth watching.
Yeah, I would recommend that you guys tune in to the Report Card podcast. Drake has a new album. If you want to hear what Cousin Juan has to say about it, tune in this week.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I gotta say, man, I gotta stay on top of my music with the Report Card podcast, man. That's why I know what to listen to on Spotify when I'm hitting the gym.
You listen to some obscure stuff, so you would really benefit from the Report Card podcast.
For
All
sure,
right,
man.
sir. Man, I feel like I missed or I did a lot of stuff in this time that I was off. I actually got to see 2 movies, but I think we don't have a lot of time to cover it. Maybe I'll just bring it up next week. You ready to draft?
I'm ready to draft, man. So we're gonna do this how we did it last year. Yeah, man. We're gonna do playing cards, and we're gonna do the player names. I have a trusty here, Beats bag, free promo for Beats. Headphones suck, by the way. The bag is the best part of the Beats headphones, people. I'll tell you that right here. You get a free review for your Beats. If you're gonna buy Beats Solo 2, don't buy them. Just try to get the bag replacement on eBay. It's a pretty cool bag. I use it for a lot of stuff. Yeah.
It looks pretty portable.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It's portable. Like when I go play like soccer and stuff, I put my wallet and my phone in there. You know, and I don't have to hang around with a big bag.
See, now you kind of messed it up there. Like I wouldn't announce that living in Dominican Republic. Like I think that's the last time you're gonna see your bag and your wallet.
Man, mostly rich people play soccer here, so it's fine. Like you can leave shit hanging around. They don't mind.
I mean, rich people play in the Super Bowl, and look what happened there.
Well, I'm not Tom Brady. My jersey is definitely not worth $500,000.
But your car may be. 500,000 pesos.
Oh yeah, not dollars, man, for sure. I'm not in no fucking Bugatti. Are you crazy? All right, so we got the names here. Let me put them in the bag. As you see, the bag is empty. I'm going to not even. Well, I'm gonna like just roll them into a ball. You got Packy. Throw it in there. You got Joel V. You got Ad Elite. These are the guys for fantasy football, fellas. Victor. J98.
This guy.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun this year. We got Brito. Is Brito the current champion or
I think he's a defending champion, sir.
Joel Reyes.
Chef,
baseball season is a little tough.
If you haven't checked out Food Inc. What is it? Food Inc.
Food.inc.rd.
Yeah, check it out, man. Nobody who's ever gone there has come away disappointed.
Dude, by the way, I'm going to have some awesome reviews coming next episode because there's a Burger Fest here in the Dominican Republic, and our buddy Joel Reyes is going to be participating in the Burger Challenge on behalf of his restaurant, food.inc.rd. He's preparing some really cool stuff. I saw it on his Instagram. I haven't even talked to him about it, but I'm definitely going to that Burger Fest this weekend, man. We got Ronald over here. So I'm going to have some good – man, too bad you're not here. That would have been a fun place for us to go. We got Iran. I'll see if I can record some clips with Joel, you know.
Iran is a funny guy because he calls himself the Rookie of the Year, but he was the only rookie. What's that show on Fox Sports that they were like, oh, the fastest growing show is like, if you just started with 0 fans and you get 3 fans – well, you just grew 300%. Therefore,
there you go.
You're the fastest growing show.
For sure, man. But I'll try to get some. If the lighting is good, I'll try to record some clips with Joel. It should be fun in that Burger Fest, man. For sure.
By the way, the fastest growing show on SoundCloud, the Unofficial Commentators. Follow us, subscribe. Find the new way to listen, SoundCloud, and as we keep growing, we'll continue to keep you informed. SoundCloud, everyone. SoundCloud.
Yes. All right, so tell people how the draft is going to work, man. I got the little Beats bag here.
All right, so you put all the names in that bag, and I have playing cards that range from the ace, which will represent the number 1, to the queen that will represent the number 12. We have 12 players in the league. The queen is there somewhere. There she is. All right, and I am going to shuffle them now, and I'm going to keep shuffling as we draft them, so I'm never going to know who is going to be the first pick. So it's not that the first name that we pick is going to be the number 1 pick or even the last pick. It's totally random. You have one thing on your side, many, many miles away from me. I have one thing on this side. I feel like I should also use some sort of bag or contraption because there was...
No, just pull up the card. Just pull out the card, and people will see me picking out the name. The card comes out first. The name goes second.
Oh,
so
very
people
good,
will
very
see
good.
Yes.
Yes. They're very, very smart on your behalf, Packy. That's a way for us.
Yeah, that was part of the complaints from last year. They're like, hey, you're pulling out the names before, and then Jay's picking out the card to whoever he wants to get picked. It's ridiculous. These guys are conspiracy theorists. And Jay gets the number 1 pick. Jay's drinking MamaJuana, so that means he's a little bit drunk right now, meaning he probably too drunk to cheat. But let's get right to it, Jay. I got the names right here.
Or maybe that's what I want you to think.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm super serious.
Dropped mysterious sound effect.
$500,000 jerseys.
Let's make sure you pull out the card first and then the name. So let's get to it right away, man.
I always pull out, okay? Let's be fair.
Oh my God. I'm seeing the effects of the alcohol already. Jesus Christ. Man, I gotta say that shit is making me pretty thirsty though. Like I want to taste that.
Whoa.
I'm talking about the
yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You want to taste that wood?
No, the MamaJuana.
There's wood in it, right? There's wood?
Yeah, but I want the liquid. I want the liquid, not the wood. It just sounds worse. All right, man. Let's get to it.
All right, ready.
Oh, God.
So, with the... Oh, hold on. Let me keep notes here so I didn't... Crap, hold on.
Yeah, you write them down.
I'm all over the place. Give me 1 sec. Hold on, everyone. This is happening live. Hold on. Hold on.
We them boys. Hold up. We make some noise. Hold up.
All right, I'm going to go with... All right, I'm going to go with the projected starters. All right, for 2017. Ready? So, are the cards on screen?
Yeah.
All right. The first number I'm picking is number, what is that, 5? The fifth pick. Who has the 5th pick?
Belongs to. Took him out right here. Hold on, this is pretty complicated. I'm trying to stay with everything on screen. Oh, look at that. Belongs to Leonel. Leonel with the 5th pick.
White Sammy.
Yes. That's just gone. Give me the next one.
Did he get married? I think I saw something like that on the social media.
Yes, he did. Congratulations to Leonel for getting married. Yes, he did get married. I was just congratulating him through text a few minutes ago.
Where can I send them flowers?
To his house, but I don't have his address, and I'm not going to give it over here either.
And a gravestone. He just signed his death sentence. All right.
Ouch!
I'm sure she's a lovely lady. Congratulations.
Oh my God!
Holy crap! The first pick already came out. Who has the first pick?
Yo, I swear to God, if this is you again, we're starting all over again. Oh, no. Look who it is. It's Ivan. Well, that's refreshing for once.
Oh, man.
Finally, somebody that doesn't know shit about fantasy football gets the first pick.
Well, Ivan, with whatever pick he normally gets, is usually a contender in baseball. All right?
All right.
Every
Next
damn
one,
shuffling.
Man, come on.
Damn, it kind of sucks that the first pick is already out. Like, everyone's playing for second place now. All right. The next pick? What's that?
That is a number 8.
The numero ocho.
Pick. I wouldn't mind picking number 8. I like number 8.
8 of 12, though.
Number 8 is Iran.
Sophomore curse. All right, shuffle them again.
He is cursed. He sucks. Oh, I was about to take out the number already. We're up before the card.
All right, what number is that? 10?
That is number 10, the 10th pick.
Numero 10.
Pick.
Would you mind that one, Pac?
Belongs to J98.
Son of a monkey's ass. 10 out of 12.
All right. That proves we have a fair draft so far, fellas.
Well, based on the projections, I could land possibly a Goldschmidt, maybe a Bryce Harper. Who knows? All right. Next one.
For sure.
Next pick. I wouldn't be mad at that. Number Quattro.
The 4th pick belongs to this guy right here, who is Victor, the new guy in the fantasy league for baseball.
Ah, Victor number 4. He's cheating. All right.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be, remember, we have pitchers, so there's going to be pitchers going in the first round. I wonder how soon is Clayton Kershaw going to come off the board.
Number 4, based on projections, if we're just going on projected score, is going to be Nolan Arenado.
Oh, man, he's a beast.
Top prospect in the third base. All right.
I had him last year, man. I think I had him last year.
Well, you won't get him this year because you don't have the 4th pick.
I might get the second one.
And the number 3 pick.
The 3rd pick. The 3rd pick belongs to this guy. Let's see who that is. Chan, chan, chan. That belongs to Gary. Come on, Gary. For once, you can't say that they fucking cheated you, man.
He's still gonna complain.
3rd pick. Oh my God, he probably is.
Yeah, man.
He always complains.
It's the life of Gary. All right. Well, the last pick is still up on the board. I'm number 10, so at least I'm not last. All right. Who's next? What's that?
Oh, the 12th pick.
Oh, the last pick.
Funny.
Who's the queen in this league?
I have a feeling this is me. I don't know. I just feel it. I just feel it.
Let the suspense build.
Oh, no. It's Brito.
Oh, the defending champion is going to pick last. Oof.
Fuck you, Brito.
If you ain't first, you last. But hey, man, you get 2 top 15 picks. You get 12 and 13. All right?
Yes, sir.
Look at the silver lining. Who'd be number 12? Possibly. Oh, man, look at this. You could probably get Chris Bryant. Check that out. All right.
Good for you. Remember, we are in a Dominican baseball league. That's for number 11. So for some reason, Dominicans fly off the board a lot quicker. So you can still get some really good players.
Que lo que, con que lo que, con que lo que.
For this guy, number 11, right here, belongs to Adeli. Yes.
Adeli. He's going to be
so
hawking.
I'm not in the last 3, so.
This
10, 11, and 12 are out.
This is good news for you. All right, I got 4 cards.
Man, I want somewhere in the middle, and I have 4 balls.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have 4 cards. I have 4 balls.
Correcto. All right. Number 2 is still up for grabs. Is this number 2? Nope.
No, that is number 7.
7.
See, I wouldn't mind number 7. That's right. I can do number 7. It's right here. Let's see who that number 7 is. Right in the middle. Joel Vasquez with 2 Z's on it. Make sure you put it with 2 Z's.
Put some respect in his name. All right, who's next?
Yes. You told me.
Oh, number 2.
Pick. Oh. All right. See, since I know I'm going to pull out my name. Pull out. It's not so crazy. I'm going to make sure you guys understand that I'm moving everything around, and still, the paper that's going to come out.
I think there's an extra pocket there where you put your name, just waiting for the number 2 pick.
Nope. Oh, it came out. I got the number 2 pick, motherfuckers. No extra pocket in there, man. I'll show you at the end. See? Haven't taken the shit off the camera.
Right.
Let's go.
All right. Only 2 picks left, number 6 and number 9. Nice. Number 9.
I get it. Number 9. Well, there's only 2 balls left in here, as you guys can tell.
You don't need 2 balls for a 69.
Which one do I pick, Jay? This one or this one?
Pick that one.
This one?
That one.
This one? Or
Pick
this
that.
one? Come on, there's only 2 left. I mean, there's not much for me to move around.
Does it matter? Pick a ball.
Pick a ball. All right, so you guys see I'm not cheating there. It's Joel Reyes, the chef, the burger master.
Burger
Man, I
King.
can't wait to taste those burgers.
Burger King.
So the last one.
Only
See,
one
no
card
pockets.
left. Numero 6.
See, flip this shit out. Make sure you understand there's no pockets, no nothing. See? Flip this shit around.
Who's left? Who's number 6?
Probably Ronald, I think it is left. Or who is it? Yep, Ronald.
Tis Ronald.
Ronald, number 6. There you go, fellas. That's the draft. That's the order. Start mock drafting. Draft has to be at latest early this week. So before next week's episode of Unofficial Commentators, we should have already drafted our fantasy baseball teams.
Yes.
So it is what it is, my friends. I think we're done for today, Jay.
Man, this was a roller coaster of emotions. I've never felt so sad and happy and excited.
It was a fun episode.
It was a very fun episode, yes. Thanks to all of our fans who've kept up with us and kept us excited about doing this for 25 episodes. Let's look forward to our next milestone, which is half a year. That just means we have to do another podcast next week.
All right, so I heard just to close it out, I heard on Colin Cowherd that this is the month of March is the month of podcasting, and they're using a special hashtag to promote podcasts. It's hashtag tripod, TRYPOD.
Yes.
So we're going to be uploading our episodes with that hashtag. Please, all of our listener and followers, if it's not too much to ask, just retweet it with that same hashtag. It should help. We're on SoundCloud now. It's a lot easier for people to listen to. Almost everybody has a SoundCloud app. So it's going to be a lot easier and better than Podomatic, guys. All right?
But we're still on Podomatic.
Jay, yeah, we're still on Podomatic, but we're going to be, going on SoundCloud from here on out. Jay,
I think we're competing head-to-head with a group of teenage girls that do a podcast where we have slightly less people listening than they do. Let's beat the pants out of these little Girl Scouts.
All right, man, take us home, man. The floor is yours.
Tune in to the fastest growing podcast on SoundCloud, the Unofficial Commentators. Everybody, Thank you for joining us this week. I'll see you all next week. Follow us on all of our social mediums. I think that's how you say it. Shout out to our sponsors, the ones keeping our beards looking nice and neat, the Scotch Porter. Follow the link at the bottom of the thing that we post and the thing, and you get 10% off of your first purchase with the code SP10. Follow our sponsor, So Loyal Clothing, on Instagram. And
Mama Juana's taking a toll on you, man.
The what now?
Mama Juana's taking a toll on you, man.
Not so for you. And see you guys next week.
Nope.